Hi, welcome to Chad's Silversmithing. Before we get too far into the video, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that really helps to get my channel promoted, and I do appreciate that. I also love it when people leave comments, so if you have a question or idea for a video, or want to tell me how you do things, or you just want to say hi, those are all great. So feel free to leave a comment. A while back I did a video about water casting, which is one of the three types of freeform casting that I've done. With water casting you get a lot of kind of dome shapes. As soon as the molten silver hits the top of the water, it produces steam and it causes it to bubble. And so it creates a little bubble in the silver. At least that's what I think is happening. And so you tend to get kind of like bubble-shaped pieces of silver as the steam expands it and causes it to solidify at the same time. This particular one that I got came out looking like some sort of stylized flower, and so I've been thinking about it for a couple of months since I did that. I think it's been a couple of months anyway. And I thought I'd put a stem and some leaves on it and make a pin out of it. So that's going to be my project today. Before we do that, though, I need to thank some people. First off, my patrons. They're a great group of people with a whole bunch of talent and are super nice. So thank you for being that way. Thank you for your financial support as well. My other group is my YouTube subscribers, and we just passed 21,600. I think we're getting close to 700. That's amazing. Thank you for that, and I do also appreciate your contributions as well as the nice comments that you leave. So thank you for that. All right, well, let's get started on this project. So this is the current design idea sketchbook I'm using. I have a number of different styles on the merch store, and this particular one has a useful chart on the back. It's got a gauge conversion to inches to millimeters. I use that all the time. Some of the other ones have some different information on the backs, and those are also useful, so check those out. The real thing that I love about them is this grid pattern in the background. It makes it a little bit easier to keep things symmetrical for me, so I use that all the time. Alright, like I said, I'm going to use a freeform casting. This is actually the piece that came out when I was doing that last video about that. And I just immediately, it looked like a flower's head to me because it's got kind of a stamen going up the middle, or a pistil, or whatever that part is. And it's sort of like organic-y. And so I thought, well, I need to make a flower out of that. So I'm going to add a stem to it, some leaves, and then we'll get it polished up and see how it looks. The last thing we're going to do is add a little pin back on it. I'm going to use some 16 gauge round wire, which I think I had a piece over here. I used to use 18 for this, but it's hard to get it stiff enough to be a really good pin in silver at 18 gauge, and I like to use actual silver when I'm making the findings. So you could buy a pre-made cheap one and solder it on there probably, but that is not what I'm going to do today. They're easy enough to make anyway. Alright, so my thought was I was going to use 14 gauge round wire, maybe 3 pieces of it twisted together, and I only showed 2 of the tips coming up here, but I might have the other one on the back side. I don't know though, we'll see how it kind of fits and looks when we put it on there. It's got kind of a natural slot right there, and I could run one of those up there, maybe one around there. But we'll see. I think I will probably, I pre-made these leaves because I'm running on a short schedule tonight, and I pre-textured them with a kind of a brass texture plate I have that I got a long time ago somewhere, just to give them a little more organic feel. And I'm going to run some more 14 gauge wire up the middle of it like that to attach it, and then we'll solder that along the stem somewhere there. I'm not sure if that's exactly where it's going to be, but that's my thought. So let's give that a try. Like I said, I've not done anything quite like this. I don't think I said that, but I don't think I've ever done anything like this, so this will be a fun experiment. I think to start with though, I got these 3 pieces. I cut them, let's see, how long did I cut them? Almost pretty close to 10 centimeters, you know. So I did not, measure that in any precise way or anything, but it seemed about long enough for this. So let's do a little bit of filing to taper these down. that'll give it just a little bit more of an organic feel. Might be kind of fun to make sort of it wouldn't work with this one, but to make like a real boxy flower, like a sort of a geometric sort of abstraction of a flower might be kind of fun. I have to try that sometime. Every month I try to give my patrons over on Patreon a theme to come up with a piece that's related to, and this month was gardening. Last month was flowers, so it's pretty close, so I don't know if they'll accept me as this being my piece for that or not. I might have to make a shovel pendant or something. But people do grow flowers in their gardens, right? And zucchinis, while useful and tasty, especially for zucchini bread, aren't really all that interesting to look at. Flowers are, though, for some reason. Pumpkins would be cool, but I tried to make pumpkins out of just some wire work one time, and I had trouble getting it to look right. So I think you could do it pretty well with sheet overlay the different segments of a pumpkin. They're kind of like segmented almost. Maybe next time I try that. Maybe on Halloween I'll do something like that. I'm curious to see how this comes out. In my mind, it comes out cool. And that's you know, about 50% of the time when you visualize something, or at least for me, when I visualize how something's going to look when I'm done with it, that it's going to look really kind of cool. About half of the time I'm accurate on that. The other half, it's like either, it's okay, or, oh my god, that's terrible, that's nothing like I imagined. So, I guess that's probably not so much an imagination problem, but an execution problem of what you're visualizing. Every once in a while you hit it on the nose, though, and you're like, wow, that came out really cool. One of my favorite ones I ever did was, and it really didn't do very well video-wise, but I really liked how it came out. And it was this bumblebee piece I did. I think it was for YouTube. So if it is, I'll put a link up there. It's one of my favorite pieces ever. One of my patrons actually did a version of it, and I really liked their version. It was very well done, I thought. I'm going to straighten these out a little bit, and then let's see if we can figure out a way to twist them together nicely. Normally I would twist things together in a drill, but these are kind of short, so I'm going to hand twist them, I think. I don't want to start them like that. I kind of want to start them like this. If you haven't been to my channel before, I use hard silver sheet solder, which looks kind of like that. I use a liquid flux that I dribble on with a dropper bottle. My torch is a Silversmith model. It's sort of settling air torch, so it just draws in atmospheric air through these holes to mix with the gas. It's hotter than a propane torch generally, but it's not as hot as a oxyacetylene. So, which for the most part you probably can get by with in silversmithing. Alright, so let's start by soldering two of these right at the base here, just so they're attached. I'll just flux it and pop it on there and see if we can get it to stick. Maybe put a little solder on there in advance. I think in order to make it easier to hold on to the base, I might use something to clamp it into. Probably use my miter vise jig for that. Just put it in this spot maybe. Just has to hold it. We got to figure out a way to make this kind of connect nicely. I think I did the twist the wrong way. Tell you what, I'm going to get this one soldered, and once that's fixed, I think it'll be easier to position these other ones. So let's do that and see how that works. Actually, that's just right there. If it doesn't move. And even though we're just soldering this one little wire, we need to heat this entire piece. That's kind of the way silver works. Alright, well, let's see if we can get this attached now. Okay, let's solder these stems on the leaves. And then we can kind of figure out where we want to position them. What I did on these ones is I filed one side flat and then tapered them down. So tried to bend them so they would sit on here flat. So, but I think what I might do is I might sweat a little bit of solder on the back side. That way it'll be easier to get it to be where it needs to be without a lot of excess slop running into the pattern. Well, let's give that a try and see if it works. So I think I'm going to cut it so I can solder it right to the edge of that one. And so it looks like it just kind of merges out of there. So really, the easiest way to do it cut it like that. In theory. Let's try that. If I didn't just bump it out of position, which I think I did. It's too bad I had it kind of just where I wanted it. That's okay, I guess. Using a third hand like this soaks up an awful lot of heat, and so you kind of got to keep that in mind. It's going to take a little bit longer to get things to where you need it to be temperature-wise. Okay, I cut the other one so I could be able to solder it right about there. Let's see if we can accomplish that without having anything fall off or anything. I could have used a different kind of solder, but I was thinking I'd save that for soldering the pin on. Keep it. Oh no, just moved it. I have to think about what the final shape of this to look like. Kind of like it with a little not perfectly curved, maybe. I kind of like that. I kind of like it pretty long. I'm wondering how much of this I should cut off. A lot like that. You don't want the pin to be super massive. I'm thinking about right there. So let's cut him off right about there. Okay, so let's let that pickle for a minute. Although let's kind of make some marks on the paper here so I can figure out how long to make my pin. I think maybe attach the pin somewhere around here. And the catch for the pin maybe about right there. So that kind of tells me how long of a pin I need, right? Maybe just a little bit longer than that. So, alright, here's what I think I'm going to do. I like to put a little loop in it to make it a little springy this way. And let's do that, but let's leave a little bit of this sticking out. There you are. So we don't start the loop right at the end. Kind of like that. That way we can attach it like this and then bend it just a bit that way, so it points that way. And I think I'll make the hook out of something a little stouter, like 14. Just a little bit wider. Okay, so you're going to want it to just kind of be a U shape. And then just turn it. Bring that back down. I'm going to cut that off pretty close to the top of that, because I'm going to have to trim it off so that pin will just pop through there just barely. And let's file the back of this even flatter. All right, let's do it this way. Now, if I can do this without having that tip over on me. All right, let's see if everything stayed where it's supposed to stay. I saw that leaf drop a little bit, but I don't think that matters too much. Okay, let's cool things off. One thing you'll notice too is that I had that, actually pulled that 16 gauge wire from some 14 gauge, and so it had not been annealed since then. And I got it real close to melting in one spot too, so it's going to be super soft. And one of the things you'll need to do is, prior to when it's all polished up, I usually do it, work harden this. And you can do that if you hold the, you're going to have to manually work harden the spring like that a little bit to get it springy again. Just be careful not to overdo it. And this part of it here, if you hold the spring with some pliers, you can just twist it, and that'll work harden it, make it pretty sturdy. So I think this looks like it's going to work. I need to cut this off. Let me make sure that's on there really good. Strangely, it is. That looks pretty good too. So I'm going to need to cut this the pin off, as well as a little bit of that there, and file them. But I'm going to wait until I've work hardened this before I cut it off. But it needs to fit kind of in between the flare of this part of the flower and that. But that should work, I think. I guess we'll find out. Let's let that pickle for a while, and then we'll see what we can do with it. Okay, got things mostly polished up. It's pretty much kind of how I was envisioning it. I didn't draw it exactly that way, but I kind of like it. I think that came out pretty interesting. So the pin just pops out like that. I never sharpen them very much. And if that ends up being pretty close there, I can probably take this Bend it down just a little bit this way. So, but I think that came out pretty nice. See how it's going to look on a piece of fabric. Fortunately, the best I could do on short notice here was to find a terry cloth shop towel. But you can get how the pin doesn't show up now when you do it like that, and that's how it would look on someone's shirt or wherever they're wearing it. So, and I've been told pins are coming back in, so might be a fun project if you got something you want to try like that. Tell me what you think of it. I'm curious. I kind of like it, and it's a weird flower, but it's kind of a fun weird flower. So tell me what you think. Alright, I'll get some better pictures and put them at the end. Okay, well that was the flower pin made out of a freeform casting. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button before you go. And I'd love it if you'd take a moment and head over to my main channel page. I have pretty close to 500 videos now. I've been doing 3 per week for about 3.5 years. And so there's almost certainly something else you'll find that you like there. So check it out, watch a few videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I would love it if you'd take a look at the description down below as well for some important links. There's a link to my Patreon should you care to find out more about that platform. There's a link to my merch store where you can get one of those nice design idea sketchbooks I told you about at the beginning. I find those super useful, and those are probably the most popular seller on the store. You can also buy my ebooks there, and there's a separate link for that as well if you want to use that. The most recent one is 2024's video tutorial guide. It's got a link to every one of the tutorials I did in 2024, as well as additional information including materials list, difficulty rating, a picture of the drawing, a picture of the final product, and some notes about things that I learned during the project or things that I thought of afterwards that I might have done differently, and that kind of stuff. So there's one for 2023 as well. If you get them both at the same time, it saves you a little bit of money, $5 off, I believe. So check those out. I think they're a great bargain. They have lots of fun ideas in them, and I think it's a nice way to support my channel. So I appreciate that in advance, should you choose to do that. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care. Happy silversmithing.